people do want to watch it just to see how I find these plays. But let's get into today's lesson. We'll start with that. Let's get into today's lesson. What I'm looking for as far as each morning coming into a play for scanner settings, finding potential hot plays. Maybe they're running from the day before. What websites I'm using, any apps I'm using. Essentially, what I'm looking at to find potential plays in scanner settings, right? And it's very basic. It's a lot like deck. I keep it even like Ashton was talking about. I keep it very, very basic. There's not a lot of stuff I'm, trying to, overcloud my chart. I don't want that. A lot of people, that's fine. If you want a ton of lines in there, if you want a ton of moving averages and all the different, that's fine. If you want it clouded up and it helps you out, again, what works best for you works best for you, and that's what you need to look for, right? But the main thing, what I'm looking for, say each morning, say scanner settings. So right, we have scans pulled up. The only literally in deck will say there's nothing like people are like, what are your settings in your scan? I mean, because scans, that's the main thing. You're just looking for certain 2, 3, 4, 5 things, and then you'll kind of look up the rest yourself to go with it, because maybe that's not listed on the scans option. But if it was, we would just have it listed on there, or these what we would have on there. But of course, the price. I'm looking immediately. Come into chat. What's the stock? We'll just, of course, keep it generic. ABC. I'm looking at ABC. I'm looking immediately what the low of day is, what the high of day is. So I can find my resistance and support. I'm doing those things immediately. Also with that though, and none of these are in no certain order, but I'm looking at the price immediately so I can see kind of, and I'm, me, like I said, like you're a doctor, but as long as I'm doing this now, and boom, I'm doing this super quick. This is happening like this, right? I'm looking at past chart history. I'm looking at the wicks, how wicky it is, up and down, lower down, blah, 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 low of day, high of day, resistance support areas. But also with that, because I'm looking at the same time, because I'm looking at my screen, right? Then I'm looking over and I'm looking at Dex scans or the, penny stock top gainers and looters. So then I'm looking at the float. I'm looking at volume. So these are the things for scanner settings. Of course, you have price in there, right? But then you'll have float. You'll have your volume, percentage change from close. Those are your main 4 things you need to be looking at. Now, after that, you can, if it's listed and you can have it on there, have the moving averages on there. 50, 100, 200 day SMA are the main 3 I see anyone use the most. I think those are the 3 that Ashton brought up last week as well. 9, 13, and 20 EMAs are the 3 that I see in here and use the most as myself. So 50, 100, and 200 SMA, 9, 13, 20 EMA. Now others you can look at, especially if you're shorter, look at the short float percentage. Another one as well as that, if it's a super overextended play, look at the RSI. Now, of course, we're looking at the PR for sure. That kind of comes hand in hand in the morning, but we're looking at those main things. Immediately looking at the price for your scanner, right? You're looking at the float. You want to see how fast that can move. Now, lately we've seen, maybe 40, 50 mil. We'll give it a shot. 20 mil, 15 to 35 mil. Okay, it can run, but maybe not nearly as much as, 5 to 10 mil. Okay, now we're 1.3, So we kind of know the closer we get to 1, right? It's kind of the opposite. The higher you go, the worse. Where the lower you get, the better. We know that with float, right? Volume, same thing. We want to see some volume in the morning. We want to see, give me over 1 million, 2, 4, 5 million shares traded easily in pre-market, right? I don't want to see just 100, 2. Now, those can spike. Those are those ones that kind of like most MOSY earlier today. Let's get to, or even look right here, LEDS. There was no volume in pre-market. Now, sometimes that doesn't mean it's not going to spike, but usually we like to see some volume in pre-market. Doesn't mean it's not going to spike, but that's where this comes back into play. LEDS, all it was about float here, right? Now, also, we're looking at percentage change from close. How much is it up? Is it up 3, 4, 500% already? We're like, oh, geez, that's up too much. That's going to come back down. But find a bounce. You can find a bounce. Or, of course, just short it. But, if it's up 10, 15, 20, 30%, you're like, okay, this has, some potential. It still can go 50 to 100. Maybe it's up 100, 200%. You're like, oh, there's still some room to go. We can get, maybe not super overextended, but you're looking at that. Then, of course, like what Deck always says, you're going over and look at your moving averages. Whatever you find working the best for you. 50, 200 day, the 100, SMA. 9, 13, 20 EMA. And of course, like I said, look at that short float percentage if you're really looking, worrying about a short squeeze on top of you, if you're looking to short this, that, and the other, or maybe also your RSI. Is it overextended? Is it due for a pullback? And of course, we know the PR. I mean, it a lot of the time it doesn't matter. Look at, again today, what we've seen spike sometimes it doesn't matter, but we're still at least looking for those things. So those are the main things I'm looking at in the morning. First, coming on in, potential hot plays. Those are the main things I'm looking at. Now, other things I'm looking at. I then look into daily chart, right? I'm immediately going to the daily chart. Here's things to look at the daily chart. Not as well as to say if I'm still looking at ABC, or I'm looking at CBD, or I'm looking at FGY, whatever I'm looking at. Immediately looking at the daily chart, of course, finding support and resistance. But other than that, here's things we're looking for that are key. Stocks breaking 52-week high with the mob, the volume, right? Here's one recently. Let's get to a couple of examples. Go back, and of course, we know Tesla, but let's just go to show you. Tesla, anytime we really start pushing over and making a new 52-week high, which of course you go back, we had it's kind of hard with this, but of course because the price change, right? So another good example that will go with this one, because I did find this one, see PRPO. Let's go back. PRPO. We know when we start breaking over, because the 52-week high is this $4 area right here. Because we go back, this is spiking in May 3rd. So we go back. Oh, this was the one actually. This was a screenshot I took. This was the one right here. So 8.3. So 8.3 right here. So we have 8.3, right? Before 8.3 of last year, the highest we're trying to get over was right here. See, let's go back to 8.3. So here's 8.3. So we're essentially a year back now. So the highest spike before that is $4, $3.90 essentially, right? $3.93. Now when we start spiking again, I know you can't see it all in one, but when we start spiking again, look where $3.93 is. Where is it at? Fine. Where are we at? It's halfway through the move, which is fine. But boom, we start breaking above, and we're over a 52-week high. We look back at oh wow, this is a moneymaker, right? And then we get this. This is what and then it tries to stay above what? It tries to stay above as much as it can above that old 52-week high. It finally falls down. But this is what you're looking at on that first day. Maybe even the second day, which ends up being a great short, really, in the end. Kind of collapses all day, which that's unfortunately kind of what we've seen, back and forth over the past year. Sometimes we see charts run, then we know why we would pass chart history. Oh, when it spikes, it likes to kind of give back gains, right? Look, it gives back every time it spikes, it gives back gains. Every time it spikes, it gives back gains. So that's why we're reading that. So that's why I'm reading that, right? But I'm like seeing stocks that spike over 52-week highs with mob, with the volume this day. Look at this huge candle compared to anything else that's around it. So PRPO, another good example there. Now, great example for yesterday, what I'm looking at and finding, which may not happen right away, and really early in the day, because I did alert this earlier on, was Tesla. And yesterday, which we could have to see the whole day, we'll probably have to at least go to a 3-minute time frame, finding this and waiting for and setting the order in. And I remember alerting it somewhere in this area, because I remember I was just saying, I like the 565 area, even 560. And that's where I was like, and that's where, then went with and alerted in chat, cool, go with the 560. And then I go, oh my God, I can't believe I got filled. So 560 was the bounce. And again, just going back and seeing, I like that area the most. Could have went, like I said, a tad higher right at the lower shadow right there. See a little bit higher. I was like, I'm going to go a little bit lower. I'm going to go a tad lower and go right here at the 560 mark and boom, right on the dot. So great to see, right? But that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for those things in the past chart history. Reading the daily chart. They come in crucial, team. Huge. Finding stocks to support. I mean, that's why, POV Josh, one of his big things. We all love him and how much he banks. Well, that's what he's looking at. He's finding those areas when those stocks are those little, falling knives, essentially, right? Dead cat bounces, essentially. Here's another one, right? Oh, here's another one too, right? Which he caught, and then I just started playing it after it started bouncing and going. But the day before, and you can go back to the daily here, and I can't scroll up to make it any bigger, but look right here. I'll just kind of make it so I know where most people will be able to see it. Look at this. Boom. Falls from the whatever, boom, all the way down to this area. I guess he alerted it to get that dip down to this area at the day before. Then I was just alerting it here, trying to get, and I got in trades in this area, I traded it then. But again, that's what, you're using your past chart history, finding those areas, and that's what we're looking for. Oh, and then another one great example is Tesla again, another, finding trend line, on the daily, literally finding trend lines or wedge, setups. Beautiful to be had, like even Tesla, yes, not this one, which, oh my gosh, I do see one right here in a beautiful day. Look at this, look at this, look what I just found looking at, and this is I accidentally put this in sometimes instead of Tesla, I'll put the TLSA, which we do have traded before, it does spike. Look at the trend line crack on the daily. I mean, look at that. Sorry for that weird sound effect there, that was me. Very bad, very bad, very bad. But again, look at this Tesla, again, finding a trend line. Look at this trend line and also forming a wedge with it. But right here, can put a little wedge or a wedge, but I put a little trend line in right here. Go a little bit lower there, right there, and squeezes off of that with the triangle, the wedge kind of forming, more of an ascending triangle. But again, find those wedges, find those triangles. Here's another one. Here's more of a kind of a bull flag on the daily, right? I mean, you kind of just look at it. Just imagine this not the daily, and this is the intraday. Opens back here. Oh, it's lunchtime. Oh, lunch forming kind of a bull flag, kind of low volume. But if we could pop, you need to get my point, though. I say low volume because it looks like a choppier stock, right? Not full candles. But still, Look at this nice little bull flag pop above. You know, we could put the right here like this, like we do on the bull flags. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, wow. Look at that there, team. That's beautiful. I love it. So use those on the daily as well. I mean, I know you don't think about it as much as you should, but those are what I look for as well. You know, finding those squeezes, finding those wedge breakouts, and you go, man, it may be hot today. I don't use them as much as I need to either. But seeing those on the daily, that's what I'm looking for. So use those in the morning. You know, again, I'm flying through these things, right? You know, in the morning I'm ripping right through these. Now, don't use many apps. Don't use an app. I mean, even training, like even if like, you know, my like Thinkorswim, I've maybe traded in my years of trading, all the trades I've traded. So just say I've just traded, which I'm sure it's over. We'll just say it's 1,000. I know I've placed over probably 1,000 trades, but maybe it's not. I don't know. Whatever. We'll just say it's 1,000 trades. Out of my 1,000 trades that I've placed in my life, career of trading, I would say 5 have come through my phone. 5. So less than percent, less than 1%. So that's why I don't usually trade on my phone. I don't have apps. So I can't go to the apps and say, well, here's what don't worry about. Again, if you want to find certain apps that help you out, that's all on you. So most of them don't go through that. But now, of course, like Deck, there are plenty of great websites to use. We all know we use Yahoo Finance, right? We all use Yahoo Finance. I think every one of us in chat know what Yahoo Finance is. We use it all the time. You can look up stocks. Sorry, I was trying to get this here, just cover up the scanners for a second here, if I may. But yes, we know what Yahoo Finance is. You go up here, you can click on your ticker, you can, find the statistics, you can find, good charting essentially, stats on the stock. You want to look up a certain stock, you can see the S&P, the Dow, it's got good, decent articles for you to read. You can keep your you can keep a little, even stocks you want to look at over here if you want to create your account. So again, it's a great one of the top ones we're going to go to, right? One of the first ones we're going to mention to go to in chat is go to Yahoo Finance. You're going to find a lot of information on stocks. Now, if you're looking at another one that's very, very similar to Yahoo Finance that I like to go into sometimes just to double check Yahoo Finance. Is FinViz down? Maybe I spelled it wrong. I was like, yeah, I think I spelled it wrong. I was like, what happened there? FinViz. Anyway, would be FinViz. FinViz. I was like, what happened there? FinViz.com. This is where you'll see Deck kind of taking his screenshots from chat, showing what the stock, what the market's doing today, how many points are up, up 297 on the Dow, 244 on the Nasdaq, 52 on the S&P, so uptrending more again, doing great. What I love about this, it actually shows you how many are literally almost the complete opposite of when Deck saw the other day when it was a slower day. There was only 1,200 advancing and 6,500 declining. Now it's the opposite. We have 6,500 advancing overall with 1,240. You get my point. So good, same thing. You can just click on a stock. It's going to take you straight to it. It's going to show you all the news. You can look up the chart. The chart's decent on it as well. It's not great, but it's decent. You're going to look up. You can see all the different information right here. More statistics you can find through it. So definitely love some finviz.com. It's definitely a good, reputable site to use. Now, of course, another one if we want to look at charting, stockcharts.com. If you don't trust yours, you want to find moving averages a little easier. You don't feel like clouding your chart. Go to stockcharts.com. You can go over here to stockcharts.com, type in MOSY, boom, it's going to bring up MOSY. And boom, it's immediately going to pull. And usually you can, here's your daily. You can change it. It's only daily and weekly. I don't know if you can, I think maybe you have to subscribe to something to get to your 1 minute charts. But this is great for your daily and what I use for my daily to find my moving average. So I'll have my 50, my 200 day, and you can add more if you want to. But the main one I like to add would be going down here and adding my, where is it at? Exponential moving average. And of course, you get 20 it's set at. If you want to put it at 13, you can set it at 13. And all you have to do is press update. And of course, you have, you can put the RSI in there. You see the RSI at the bottom, the MACD. So you can, all these other indicators, so that if you want to cloud up your daily chart, you can just have this pulled up every day. And then boom, here's your moving average. You have a 50 day at 379, 200. Let's match it up with, I'll move it out of the way real quick. Let's match it up with trade ideas here. Not Mosty. We're not the Mosty. We're the Mosies. All right. So we got MOSY. Kind of get it as close as I can here without messing it up. So I think it's 379. Yeah, there we go. Okay, got it. Because sometimes your little hand here will mess it up. So here we go. MOSI, 50-day moving average, 379. MOSI, 50-day moving average, 379. 200-day moving average, 266. 200-day moving average, it did say 266. EMA 13A moving average 352. This does have 345, so get my point. So that just changed. Let me change that back. So it changes when you have your mouse. Unfortunately, changes that 352. So there we go. So if I won't move it. So if you want to do compare, there you go. It's right on dot with trade ideas. You gotta love some stockcharts.com. It's beautiful, beautiful charting, right on the dot. Trust the moving averages. Trust everything it says. You can RSI, MACD, Bollinger Bands, whatever you want to put in there, you can get it in there. Besides the moving averages, but I'm loving some stockcharts.com for that. Now lately, the new one we've kind of gone to is floatchecker.com. Floatchecker.com. I love this. This is literally like I said, it's like the Trivago of trying to find a float. Literally, you get my point. You're going to find you're going to have boom right down here. And I know it's kind of some different ones. Wall Street Journal, Morningstar, really haven't heard of those, but hey, whatever. I'll take it. And yeah, MOSY, want to find the float. Boom, tick it in, press enter, and there you go. Immediately, you get the float from 5 different outlets. And I think there's actually sometimes, I thought sometimes there were more. But regardless, there you go. And these are the main ones you want because right here, these are the main 2 we're always looking at anyway. And we'll take the added ones on here. But I love it because it immediately gives it 2. I want to check is always usually this one. And this is the second one. I want to verify Yahoo Finance's FinViz. So there you go. So love using those four websites: Yahoo Finance, StockCharts.com, FinViz, Float Checker, just to verify things. Now, Investopedia for newer traders. Investopedia.com is a great place to kind of learn all things stocks, right? All the terms. Study up. This is where you want to go. Of course, it's going to have different articles and stuff like that there, but if you, of course, you can look up stocks. But if you want to learn, there's so much education here to learn about. The whole dictionary over here, you can just hit up. Great area to go to and just find out certain things you want to find out. What's the VWAP really mean? What's just the true definition of the VWAP? So you can come over here and go to the volume weighted average price, the VWAP, click on it, and just get some information on it. And then it'll just kind of show you about it, break things down, talk about it, and kind of get your own little lesson right there. So another site I like using. Those are my top 5. I don't like to overcloud it. I'm going to go to the video library and deck. I'm going to study stuff there. I'm going to be in chat all day long, learn what people are using. That's how I really got good at and then formulated my own plan, which we'll get to that lesson. But yes, that's what I use. Not only coming into chat each day, what websites I use, what I'm looking for in my scanner settings, just everything essentially what I look for when I'm trading. That's it right there. So hopefully that kind of clarifies some things and helps some traders out.